What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are finally concluding the return of Johnny Ridden. Last time, Ingred began fighting with Uma Lightning, while Yazan engaged with Shar. Everyone converges on Minaret, and Resin ran support to help Neo-Zeon make it through the debris field. This time, everyone teams up on Shar. Minaret activates, and we learn about Ingred's past. So let's get into this. The Nikaya gets a call from Siemens' team. They're moving in to help out the first platoon. They need help against the Red Comet. They connect with Jacobius and tell him about Shar, but he doesn't have eyes on him yet. He will let them know if he gets sights on them. He hopes the second platoon can protect Minaret. Ditkot has heard rumors that Shar has been forming an army of Neo-Zeon remnants. Oxner says this is no rumor. This is all true. In fact, the Federation knows about them and plans on using its new Special Forces unit to handle them. Ditkot knows he is talking about Londo Bell. It's about time. Welcome to the fucking party, Londo Bell. We've been here for a while. Where have you been? To an old type like Oxner, he sees that the future of military strategy is in new type versus new type. Ditkot thinks that there is a chance to stop Shar Aznable here and now. They should take that opportunity. Oxner says the proverb, "He who chases after two rabbits catches none." This is a quote by Confucius. He then says the quote from Genesis, "I did not bring you anything torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself." What this hipster is trying to say is that sending anyone other than the Chimera Corps to handle Shar is sending them to their deaths. The Chimera Corps is literally bred to handle Shar Aznable. The third platoon will help out the Chimera, while second platoon heads out to the front lines to help out the first platoon. Oxner notes that it is moments like this that makes him miss being a military man. Ditkot tells the old man to watch his heart. Oxner decides to tell Londo Bell that they found the location of Shar. Ditkot wonders if it is wise. Uma tells Ingrid that she needs to come back with them, but she is on a different path. The boosters on the burst liner are slowing her down, but then she realizes it is all her. At the end of the day, she is still a kid as she was placed in stasis for years. Even Uma is now an adult with 10 more years of experience than her. Uma chases Ingrid into what was once the resupply depot, now nothing more than debris. Before being destroyed, they scattered fuel tanks everywhere. Uma ignites some of the fuel tanks. She realizes that she looped back to Yazan and Shar fighting. He wonders why she came back here. Ingrid goes, "I don't know what's happening anymore." Uma says that she is the only person he wants to fight with, and convinces them to help them fight against Shar. She is Chimera after all. Uma goes to toy with Shar while Ingrid begins attacking Neo-Zeon. Yazan wants to know what she is doing. She says that she is Chimera, and this is just her instincts acting. This turns on Yazan like the psychopath he is. He says that you two are a psychopath like your uncle Vasuki. She has earned his respect and shows her by calling himself Yazan instead of Vasuki around her. She is now the alpha. Yazan really is like a dog. He goes to help Uma, still playing with Shar. Shar recognizes the speed of the Gelgoog Vertex. Led fires on Shar while Uma goes in close. Led, Uma, and Jacobius have to work together. Aishwarya and Bob make it to Minaret. She says that it looks like an ark. The hangar is as big as a small town. This ship was designed to develop mobile suit technologies. After the door closes behind their ship, it will take 10 minutes to depressurize. Scott and Aishwarya will go to Hugh Markeen Kelvin's office, where she will crack his computer. Bob will stay at the port and act as support for Aishwarya, in case she needs something to procure during her hacking. This facility seems to have everything they will need. Aishwarya is obsessed with Shar. Anytime he shows up, new technologies follow him. The Psychomu, the movable frame, and soon the Psycho Frame. Shar, in many ways, helped push technology forward in this universe. She goes on a rant about how technology isn't bad. It is the people who use it, and those who use it for evil aren't engineers. For those who create for evil purposes, it is up to engineers to turn that technology into use for good. Humans have stopped evolving and allowed for technology to evolve in its place. People should bear the burdens of the technology they use. Humans still have the freedom of choice to not use said technologies. They still have that power. Pressurization has ended. It's time for them to begin. Scott bows to her and calls her Denshi no Hime, or Electronic Princess. Enemy attacks begin to reach Minaret. The Nikaya has to help the ship. Ditkot contacts Hoover and tells him that Shar is tearing through the front lines and making their way towards Minaret. He is on standby on the deck. Once they get Minaret's engines going, it is over. They just have to hold out until then. Ditkot regroups the defensive forces around the stern of Minaret. They plan on placing the ship 300 meters below it. Led and Shar continue fighting. He tells Uma to stand back. He and Ingrid come rushing in though. Yazan tells her to watch out for his funnels. Char gets behind Ingrid, but Yazan comes in to save her. Uma needs to resupply, but he says screw it and scavenges some weapons on the battlefield. Here is another example that you can't just grab any weapon. You have to authenticate with it. I think he even upgrades the firmware on the fly. He thanks Remia for the ability to do this with his mobile suit. He is resupplied and good to go. Jacobius informs them of incoming mobile suits. That is when Siemens and the Hydra team comes in to help. The vertices can focus on Char. They will come help once they cleared the battlefield. Ingrid and Yazan lose sight of Char. In Hugh's office, it took Aishwarya 7 minutes to break into the computer system. She is able to open a secret door. Scott says this is the chamber of the mythical beast. Remia enters into the main facility of Minaret to find mobile suits and mobile armors. Rows of them. Aishwarya unlocks the door and Scott enters. He tells her to get control of the center console. Then lock everything except navigation and life support systems. Scott wants to prep some of the mobile suits Remia found in case they need to use them. Aishwarya tells Scott that the console is activating on its own. She looks and finds a log file of its activation 45 minutes ago. That was about the time the battle began. Sensors activate on Minaret. They aren't for navigation. They are monitoring the battle. It's looking for something specific. But what is activating it? The Gelgoog spot Ingrid's Gundam. Led and Yazan agree to work together until they take down Char. Char awaits the beast heading towards them. They begin firing at Char. As that happens, the Minaret begins attacking them. A program called Echidna begins running. Speed, agility, and even the timing of the firing of everyone's beam blasts. All this data is being collected by Minaret. This Echidna program seems to be running off a different OS from the ship. The operating system is called Harmony. Char calls Yazan a beast. Not how like young people say it, as in he's a savage animal. While he fights Char, Ingrid tries to focus on his funnels. Yazan tries to capture Char. Ingrid rushes in with her bits. Char fires on her, but Uma blocks her, doing damage to his Kronos. Led rushes in and takes on Char. Remia tells Scott that it is Echidna that is monitoring Led's battle data. It is looking for Johnny Ridden. It is most likely going to launch something if it finds Johnny Ridden. As the battle continues, the computer is focusing more and more on Led's vertex. The incoming battle data is exponentially growing as well. Char is pushing Led to his limits. Scott wants Aishwarya to try to stop the ship from capturing the data, or at least slow it down. Led gets the upper hand on Char. The computer is now 100% sure that he is Johnny Ridden. Half are surprised, and the other half are like, yeah, of course. He sees Hugh in his mind, saying that Johnny was always superior to him in every way. He wonders who these thoughts are. Jacobius protects Led while he has a mini freakout. Hugh tells him that he is the key, and he will return when he is needed. He apologizes for betraying the zombies. That is when Minaret begins activating. Char 2 realizes that Astaroth is activating. Yazan meets up with Valenstein and Kawase. The Chimera retreats while the Nakaya distance itself from Minaret. Oxner knows that Led is Johnny, but Hoover already knew. Minaret has hundreds of bits. Char wonders if this is how the virus will be deployed. Minovsky particles increase. Kikonoe allows Phileas and his team to head out. The Blanc rival and Gop's fleet prepare to attack. No one can contact Johnny. He is still passed out. The bits from Minaret begin launching. Oxner says that they can't let it scatter throughout space. They need all forces to help stop it. Jacobius takes aim and fires at one. The bits are overwhelming. The attack systems are activated on Minaret. Minaret also begins evacuation procedures. This is no longer a capture mission for Neo Zeon. They will now try to destroy it. He tells his team to focus on the containers with the bits. Char still doesn't want to leave Astaroth in the hands of the Federation. He says if the world is destroyed by this, then Amra won't appear. It's all about getting his boyfriend to fight him at the end of the day. That's all that matters. Ingrid and Uma help Johnny, who is still passed out. They open his cockpit. She says if this guy is Johnny, his hatch code will be the same as in the past. She is able to open it. She knew it was him all along. UC 0079, Minaret. Ingrid and Uma head out in Gelgoog cannons. Asia watches as Johnny comes in. She mentions that Ingrid is the first attempt at growing a fast-growing embryo by Zeon. This is why they can't age. Mass cloning attempts are underway. The fact that these children exist is something that Asia has come to terms with, but they don't know of the past. They look towards the future. So Asia thinks there is hope for humanity. As the two talk about the cloning process, we learn that Asia wanted to use Johnny's DNA, but Hugh decided against it and chose Asia as the donor. Asia's DNA lives within the two cyberneotypes, based on the flashbacks of Johnny and Hugh. This decision by Hugh seems to be out of jealousy of Johnny. After Asia's death, There was no one to watch over Ingred's condition. He tells her that the reason Uma left is to start a rebellion. She wants to go after him, but she has to go into stasis. He says that the two of them will fly again. In the present, Johnny wakes up. He was able to keep his promise to her. Now it is up to him to show them the future that Asia believed in. A cosmic glow comes from the mobile suit. Shar realizes that this is an enhanced human. He's seen this before from Zeta Gundam. Shar thinks of Camille. The bits and the remaining containers start to move. Everyone begins evading. Led/Johnny gets in contact with Aishwarya. He wants her to find Astaroth's control systems firing the weapons. Whatever systems that were set in place by Hugh are separate from the weapons controls. She needs to find that as well. She says, "Do you know who you are talking to? I could do it in 2 minutes. Bitch, I'm Aishwarya." Led then tells the Nakia to prep the Hyper Mega Launcher. This is the same weapon that Quattro used in Zeta. Resin spots the Nakia moving out. Before she could shoot it, a mobile suit approaches from below. It is Phileas and the Garibaldi. Gaius is with him. He goes to look for Yazan's team, while Phileas handles business. He messes up Resin's transformation system, and the mobile suit separates. The Nakia dodges an attack. They prep the coordinates and launch the Hyper Mega Launcher. The Gelgoogs go pew 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 on the bits to clear a path. The High Mega Launcher launches. Johnny grabs it and rushes towards Minaret. Aishwarya found the weapons control system. Johnny takes aim and fires this beast of a cannon on Minaret. Everyone has cleared out of the ship by now, but on Hugh's computer are the words, "Did you have fun?" The ship goes down. 5 days later. Minaret is planning on being sunk out in Jupiter with the help of PMC Themis. In 3 months, a helium mining vessel is heading towards Jupiter, and he is planning on heading out with it. At the Garden of Thorns, Oxner meets with Gop, Hoover, and Ditcott. They discuss the Minaret being sunk in Jupiter's hurricanes. Anaheim Electronics is fronting the bill on this mission. Oxner's team technically won, and Gop concedes to that. He thinks that Oxner should become president when he steps down in 3 years. But this is more of a curse. Gop says that he should use this time to travel the world that he tried to destroy. Oxner's plan of resetting Universal Century also failed. There was damage, however. A new colony inside 5 was destroyed due to Astaroth, but luckily it was empty. Oxner says maybe one day he should visit that colony too to repent. Hoover wonders what will happen with FSS. Gop wants to keep the agency going. Ditcott laughs because during the Dark Ages there was a man who tried to control information. He is referring to J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover is named after J. Edgar Hoover, so the irony is palpable. I mean, I guess you wrote it to be that way, bro. Back in Sweetwater, Shar tells Horst, "Oh well, I guess we gotta drop an asteroid on Lhasa." Remia is heading to Luna 2 to help with an engineering investigation. But Uma talks about how Johnny is the ultimate rival, and he will do anything to beat Johnny. This inspires Remia to stay with FSS. Led tricked Ingrid to being a test pilot with FSS as well. Ditcott and Hoover look out at the test team. They realize that Remia is the one that held these people together. Led and the gang are still planning on heading out to Jupiter in 3 months. Remia begins a new MSV test evaluation. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam MSVR, The Return of Johnny Ridden. This was such a wild ride. It has almost something for every generation of UC that people will enjoy. I put this one up there with the plot to assassinate Giran. In many ways, this was a sequel to the plot to assassinate Giran. However, I feel like I missed a bunch of things at the end. Like I'm pretty sure package number 6 was left by Uma when they first boarded the ship, but I completely missed the purpose of it. I think it played a role in the activation. I think? There is also an offhand comment of Remia staying behind when Johnny goes to Jupiter. Why isn't she going with him? I don't know why that annoyed me the most. Where's the Lavu? There is so much going on in this final battle. It is a tactical mess that I want to return to eventually, as a lot happened here. Now that we have finished the return of Johnny Ridden, we can finally continue our coverage of Shin Matsunaga. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, Asia could have been a mother to Johnny. Peace.